Today we're going to be talking to Karen Sue Trent, who played Penny Woods on Leave It to Beaver. It's been believed for many years now, well actually since 2022, that Karen had passed away. Well folks, she is very much alive and we're going to talk to her, set up the interview, and get everything going. Let me just get my phone here and give her a call. There we go. We're on our way. We're going to talk to Karen Sue Trent. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the interview.
Hello?
Hello, Karen. This is Bryon Nelson. How you doing?
Good. I was in the kitchen.
Oh.
Sorry, it took me a while to get to the phone.
Are we cooking?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've got a roast in the crock pot.
Oh, I love those.
Yep.
Oh.
And it's one pot deal.
Oh. I love a good pot roast. And the best thing about a pot roast is when it sits in the slow cooker all day long. And then you walk into the house and
you can smell it. Yep.
Oh. There's nothing better than that.
Nope.
So how's everything down there in Florida today?
It's good. It's hot.
Not hot here, although we did have some hot weather last week. It was in the 80s and it was humid, and now we're in the high 40s and not humid at all.
Oh.
I do appreciate you doing this interview. It's going to be very exciting.
Well, it's exciting for me too.
Yes, and please excuse me. I'm getting over a cold. I'm going to do my best not to cough or anything during this entire time.
That's okay. Remember, I was a nurse for 40 years.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yep.
What, did you have any area of expertise as a nurse, or was there a certain floor?
For a long time, I worked with urology.
Okay.
And then when I moved to Florida, I worked with a nurse practitioner, and we just did about everything.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Very
and then
cool.
I retired.
Oh, well, and that's the life. And that's where most people retire, is in Florida.
Yeah.
My mother included. All right, cool. Let's get started. I guess the first and foremost thing that we need to clear up is that you are very much alive. There's a rumor going out there that you had passed away, and you know, who was it that said the rumors of my death are greatly exaggerated? What that was? Who was that? Samuel Clemens?
I think so.
And I forget his writing name up the top of my head, but yeah, the same thing happened to Jerry Mathers. He was said to be killed in Vietnam.
Really?
And yeah, he was not, apparently.
No.
And he's still with us.
Thank
And
God.
apparently I guess what happened is, and like you and I discussed, someone had passed away by the name of Karen Trent. And as everyone did not understand, as you read the obituary, it had said, it gave you the impression that was her married name. And we all know that you were a child with the name Trent.
Correct.
So I pointed that out to them. I said, no, this cannot be her. And so IMDb got a hold of that, and yeah, it's saying that you had passed away, and I believe it was 2022, but you are very much alive.
Yes, I am, and I plan to be for a while longer.
Well, that's a good plan. Yeah. So, yes, you are very much alive, and yeah. So, how exactly were you discovered?
Well, I started when I was 2 years old, modeling.
Okay.
At that time, we lived in New York. I started out modeling, and then I did a lot of commercials. I did the original Tricks, Kicks, and Sugar Jets.
Oh, cool.
And for the Tricks commercial, I was dressed like a librarian, I guess you could say. And that was all to do with the rabbit. I don't remember the Kicks one, but the Sugar Jets, they put me in a harness and had me flying.
Oh, wow.
Like I looked like I was flying.
So was that a projection screen behind you?
You know, it was the beginning because I did a lot of commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that I was also on the Shirley Temple.
Yes.
No, I never did get to meet her.
No.
I have a book, I guess you could say, or an album of all the things that I've done.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The reason why I got the job on the Beaver set was I was into horses all my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I wrote English mostly, but I put on it was tan jeans and a tan like Levi jacket, and went dressed as I was riding a horse.
Right.
And the producers loved it, so I got the job. And then they called me back, and that's when I came back as Penny Woods.
Yes.
And the lady that played my mother on Beaver was the voice of Wilma Flintstone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you cannot unhear that.
I know. She was a really nice lady. Really nice lady.
Yes.
The lady that played Miss Landers, she was a nice lady too.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the most fun shows I did was with the baby buggy. Beaver wanted the wheels.
Yes.
You remember that one?
I certainly do, yes.
And then there was another one. I can't remember all of them all the time. You know, age gets to you. But he came to my house and gave me a present because I was supposed to go away. And then I didn't move.
Yeah.
So, naturally, all the kids, in the hallway, when we would be standing by the lockers, we'd all go, or whatever.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Now,
stick the tongue out.
He was a nice kid.
Yes.
Very nice kid. Then the kid that played Harry, he came after the other chunky kid. What was his name?
Larry Mondello.
Yeah, Larry Mondello. And I think Larry just outgrew the part is what it was. Because I was told that the reason that Judy left the show was because she's got too big.
Mm-hmm. She was starting to grow up.
Yeah, exactly. And you could see it.
Right.
Now, what was his name? The blonde head kid.
Gilbert?
Gilbert.
Stephen Talbot?
Yeah, Talbot. He was kind of a little wise guy.
Yes, we interviewed Stephen Talbot, and Stephen has become a friend of ours, and he's a very nice guy. And they did a show out in California a couple years ago, last year, and that was the first one he had ever done. Whether he'd do another one or not, I don't know, but it was very cool to my moderator Maria, who helps me run the group. She and I went there, and we interviewed him back a couple years ago, and he was supposed to do an appearance at in Tennessee back in 2022. But then was coming up on a deadline on a documentary that he was doing at the time, which that's the field of work that he went into
Oh,
after his acting career. He became a documentary filmmaker,
oh,
and so yeah, we got to chit chat with Steve for quite a bit, and yeah, same thing. Fond memories of the show, and his father was in the industry as well, and made a couple appearances in Leave It to Beaver as well.
oh. What did he? What did he come in as?
He played Linda Dennison's father. So I believe it was two episodes that he was in, might have been three, but there was one episode where Beaver was invited to a birthday party for Linda Dennison,
Oh,
and he was the only boy invited. So all these girls he's in, and he escapes them and like runs into another room of the house where happens to be Mr. Dennison's den, and Mr. Dennison is in there, and that's Lyle Talbot who plays Mr. Dennison.
didn't he do something else, Lyle Talbot?
He did a lot of things.
Yeah.
He did a lot of things. He did. For people out there who have not heard my interview with Stephen Talbot, it is also available on my YouTube page. Stephen Talbot's father was actually the first Lex Luthor in live action in the Superman serials.
Okay.
And he
Okay.
also played Commissioner Gordon in the Batman serials.
Really?
Yeah. He did a lot
That's
of
all.
movies with Mae West. Um, I'm trying to think of. Barbara Stanwyck was another one that he did work with. He did a lot of movies throughout the 1920s, early 1900s.
Oh.
1920s up until he was active. He did make one appearance in the new Leave It to Beaver, as it was a real quick cameo role. He played the orthodontist of Beaver's younger son, and
Oh,
it
okay.
was a nightmare of Beaver. And he was having a dream of the dentist, coming at him, putting braces on his face. But yeah, that was. But yeah, he had a very full. And as a matter of fact, Steve's sister wrote a book, and I believe it's called "My Father's 20th Century." I think it's called
Oh,
by Margaret Talbot, I believe.
okay.
And yeah, so I one of these days I'm going to pick that book up because that would be interesting too.
That would be interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see the library has it.
yeah. So yeah, he had a very very full career. And Steven, he got into acting. He wanted to because his dad was in it. He liked what he saw, and he wanted to do it. And his parents really didn't want him to do it because both of them were in the acting industry, and they both saw what it could do to children
Yeah.
potentially. So
Yeah.
they didn't really want him to, but he was able to get himself in the door, and he was in quite a few sitcoms himself, and was able to do it. And then when he got to high school age, he just wanted to be in high school and be a regular kid. So he got out of it and never looked back. And after high school, he went into his documentary filmmaking career, which was very, very successful too.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting thing to get into.
Yeah, yeah. So when you did the Leave It to Beaver thing, when you were in the audition process, did they
Uh-huh.
was there something that prompted them to, because horses was something that you yourself were interested in. How did they find that out? Did you tell them at some point, or did that?
No, I had a very, very good agent.
Okay.
Um, And they had suggested, because they knew what the part involved, and they knew that I was into horse, and they said, dress in your cowboy uniform. So
cool.
I did. And that sold me right off the bat.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they decided that since I'd been on that one episode, they had me come back as Penny.
Right.
Yeah. So the thing that was most interesting is my mother mostly took me, when I was doing a show. We would go in on Tuesday to go over the script. Wednesday, they would sort of start doing the settings and, where you're going to stand and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we would film.
Okay.
Now, my dad would take me a couple times, and my dad was a real horseman. So when I was on set, my dad would go around and go to the Western sets, and I mean, he had a ball.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it was also interesting because Review Universal, the studios that we were at, I got to see Alfred Hitchcock, all kind of the guy that played Herman Munster.
Fred Gwynn.
And as a kid, that's really something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred Gwynn.
Yeah, Fred Gwynn. And just a lot of different stars. And everybody would show up in the commissary at different times, but, people would show up in costumes.
That is because, so cool.
You're filming, so you go and eat. I can't really remember what I used to eat in the commissary. I just don't remember that.
Okay.
That's just too far back. But I'm sure my mom made sure I ate good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was interesting because of all the movie stars that I got to see.
Oh, absolutely. So,
and then when I was in high school, there was a Sadie Hawkins dance, where the girls asked the boys.
Yes.
And I asked Tony Dow.
You did?
Yeah. And
what did Tony say?
Well, he went with me, and of course, my whole high school was just in awe because I was there with Tony. And so I had more friends than I could imagine who wanted to sit at the table with us. Yeah. Now, Jerry, he was the nicest kid. I really liked him. We got along very well. We had a good, between the two of us. It was, we were friends.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, there was something on a couple weeks ago, and so I texted him back, and I told him who I was. Do you remember me?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to hear from him. It's been so many years, but right. I don't think I've gotten a message back yet. I haven't seen anything.
Right. So, about your family, now you kind of said that. Now,
I was an only child.
You were an only child. Did
Yeah.
you? Now, where did you grow up? Were your parents in show business as well?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I grew up in Burbank, California. I was born in Ohio, and then we moved to New York, and that's where I did a lot of stuff. Now, in New York, I also did a stage play called 6 Characters in Search of an Author.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the 6th character. I was, went all the way down to the bottom.
Right.
I did a lot of commercials there. I did Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo.
Did you know, sorry for the interruption, but Johnson & Johnson was based in Racine, Wisconsin.
Oh, really?
Which is the next county over from where I live right now. Yeah. S.E. Johnson is the parent company of Johnson & Johnson.
Well, they had me standing in front of what was supposed to be like a mirror, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at the camera with shampoo in my hair.
Oh, okay.
And I have pretty long hair, and I've always been a blonde, but all day long with the shampoo in my hair and massaging my scalp. And I had to be on stage that evening for the theater.
Okay.
My hair was matted.
Oh boy.
I'll never forget that. And it took them like an hour just to detangle my hair.
Oh boy.
So that was very fun for me as a kid.
Was not very fun.
No.
No, I would imagine not.
I did a billboard for Wonder Bread.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But see, then the problem got when I lived in California, because you drove everywhere. In New York, you didn't really. You either took the subway or a cab. But I used to get car sick.
Okay.
So I used to hate to go on commercials that were like for an interview that was away, far away.
Right.
That was one of my problems. That's why I hated it. I said, I don't want to go.
Right.
But they took me anyhow.
So you grew up in Burbank. So
yeah.
The Leave It to Beaver auditions, I would imagine, were in Los Angeles.
Yes.
In the next city over, right next to each other.
Right.
And so that was not much of a car sickness type of thing.
No, wasn't far at all.
So did your agent say, did your agent get you this part as Penny then?
He was, what was his name? Al. The last name began with a U. I'm not sure. But it was him and his wife, and they used to give me all kinds of parts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. What? Oh, yeah, I did the 7-Year Itch with Marilyn Monroe, and I did get to meet her because I was supposed to be her kid or something. I don't know.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or was it Susan Hayward? I can't remember which one it was. I did a bunch of shows, like it was a judge show. I can't remember. I'd have to get my album out and, look it up. But I did a bunch of those. Wagon Train. Yeah, Wagon Train. I had fun on Wagon Train. And Death Valley Days. I did that one. Wagon Train was Ward Vaughn. Nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was gruff, but he was a nice man.
Yeah.
Rifleman. Johnny and I stayed friends. We used to go riding together.
Okay.
Yeah, because he lived close by me. So we'd meet and we'd go riding. Cool. Yeah. He was a nice guy, too. Was. Yeah, sorry for him.
Yeah.
I hear that Tony died. Now, I lived on a boat in Long Beach. I lived on a 55-foot catch sailboat.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the big boats were at one end and the little boats were down at the other end.
Yes.
So my youngest son comes screaming up to me and goes, Mom, guess who's down there? I said, who? He goes, Tony Dow. Really? So, of course, my son has to bring him up to my boat. And he actually, Barbara Billingsley came at the same time.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, she came to meet Tony. So they came down to my boat, and we talked and chatted for a while. He had a skiff.
Okay.
He had something to do with, I think it was the Boy Scouts or something like that. And that's why he came into my marina.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. And then I had a 1936, it was a kit car, Jaguar SS100.
Oh, how cool.
And it was gorgeous. Anyhow, I used to park it up front, and the license plate said Skipper. Well,
okay.
Tony had a Porsche.
Very nice.
And he wanted me to trade my Skipper for his Porsche.
And you said?
No. Ain't gonna happen.
When abouts was this?
This was at the marina, Long Beach Marina, but it was a private marina. You couldn't get in and out unless you had a key to the gate.
Okay. And was that in like the Los Angeles area or?
Yeah. It was in Long Beach.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so that's why they let him in, because they knew who he was. Because the dock manager, he didn't let anybody in.
Right.
Because you had to go to him first, get a key, or for him to let you in and out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that was my last encounter with him and Barbara.
And what year was that? Had to have been at least 20.
It was probably around, let's see, Justin was about 8, maybe a little less. So he was born in 74. Yeah, probably about 1980.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably about 19. No, maybe it's not even that. It was early 80s. Early 80s.
Okay. Yeah. Well, 74. If your son was 8, then like 84-ish.
Yeah.
80, 82.
Yeah.
87, 82. Somewhere
like
in
that.
there. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That was an exciting, and of course everybody. It was on a weekend, so everybody's down at their boat. But we were liveaboards. We lived on the boat.
How cool.
Yeah, and there was this Spruce Goose. It was called the Spruce Goose, and it was owned by John Wayne. And we chartered that and went out on that. And it was an old minesweeper of a boat, a ship, actually. Yeah. And we were in the marina in Catalina when Natalie Wood drowned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We were there. Yeah, that was really something.
Yeah. So how did you get the news of that? I mean,
the news, there was rumors going around the marina, but all the sailors like to make up stories too.
Right.
So then it was, it was newsworthy. It was on the TV and the papers and all that other stuff.
Right.
But they weren't moored by us. We were moored in a different spot because we had a large boat. They were on a power boat. That made a difference.
Yeah, they went. There was a cruise back in 2019 or 2020. It was right before the pandemic, I believe, and it was Leave It to Beaver casts, and I think there were other stars of that era on that cruise as well. And they did do a tour of Catalina that Tony was kind of the guide for.
Yeah.
Because he was very familiar with Catalina because he had lived there. And yeah. And I very much would have loved to go on that cruise, but circumstances didn't allow me to at that time, unfortunately. That would have been fun. That
would have been fun. I mean, just to remember your old friends and people that you worked with.
Yeah.
That would have been. Now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember I had planned on going, but there was just so much going on in life at that time that it was just not possible. There was just too many things and too many irons and too many fires but
yeah.
But it would have been fun. So you appeared in 14 episodes of Leave It to Beaver. The first one was being Beaver's Dance. That's where you were dressed as the cowgirl,
right.
of which you were referred to as a cowboy. And you said, I'm a cowboy and I'm a girl because Beaver or Larry.
Cowboy hat on. My hair was up under the cowboy hat.
Yes. You were made up to look like a boy, so that when you took your hat off, they found out you were a girl. And yeah. So the and then the last one was with the beaver and the bunny suit. So you're all were in a play.
Yes.
So out of all of the
And I
14,
was a butterfly.
you were the butterfly. Yes. Yes, very appropriately, I might add. Yes. 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 So there were 14 episodes. Is there an episode that pops out to you as a favorite? Maybe there's one that you didn't like as much.
Well, I liked the baby buggy one. That was fun.
Yeah.
The other one that was fun is when. Yeah, that was at school when I told him he was going to dumb school.
Yeah. Full of dumb kids.
And I was like, I sat in the front row and I always had my hand up. I always wanted to get picked on.
Yes, you were the like Harry was the second Larry. You were the replacement of Judy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now I like just about everyone was fun. I had a good time.
That's what everyone says. Everyone
Yeah.
has said that. Yes.
And in school, you only have to go to school for 3 hours on set.
Right.
So you might sit down at your desk, and the teachers that I had in my real school would give me assignments that I would take with me because they knew what I did.
Right.
And so you'd sit down for maybe 10, 20 minutes, and then they'd call you back out on set again. So the teacher had to continually say, clock in, clock out, until you got your 3 hours. Well,
Right.
after you got 3 hours, and then you were like, let loose.
Yeah, I always found it interesting on how the entertainment industry children do school. Like it's so inconsistent. How does I mean, time wise, you're there, and then it's like choppy. So you're there, and then you clock in up until you get the 3 hours required.
Correct.
So, and do you know roughly what time school was? Because you had to be off the set by, I think it was like 5 or 6 o'clock, if I recall.
Exactly. Well, you went to school the whole time you were on set until your 3 hours were in.
Right.
So, like, they would say to the director, she's got 20 minutes more to go or whatever. So they kind of, they work around that.
Right.
They do something else and then come back to you.
Right.
Now, the most fun episode that I ever had was on the rifle, when I fell on the quicksand.
Yes.
That was awesome.
So,
and the water was friggin' cold.
And obviously it was not quicksand, it was water.
No,
to me it looked
they
like
dug a big hole and put chopped up cork
oh.
all over the ground, and it floated on top of the water.
Yeah.
And they had like a big apple crate on a crane that lowered me when I stepped on it. It lowered me into the water like I was on quicksand.
Right.
And I mean, when the water comes from the hose and it's cold, and they're lowering you down there slowly, and you have to keep a straight face.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, that was a little challenging. But now, one person that I really didn't care for was Chuck. Chuck Connors was a you-know-what. He thought he was the cat's meow, and he wasn't.
And that was on the Rifleman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he had and pulled me out of the quicksand, he grabbed me by my boob. I'll never forget that. He grabbed me from behind, but he grabbed me from my boob, and I was just mortified. I mean, I was just a young kid, you know.
Right.
But no, he wasn't very friendly at all.
I would imagine not. Oh
Yeah.
man. So that wasn't that the episode where you got injured?
No. I didn't get injured.
You didn't
but I did all our own horse riding.
You did? Well, of course you did, for sure.
And so did Johnny.
Johnny did too, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We both did. And we had fun because I didn't know the horse I was on. They were horses that they'd rented or whatever. And we would like to do races.
Right. Well,
he was a great kid.
So
great kid.
So how did that work with? Because with horses, and you know this because you know
Yeah,
horses, but with
yeah.
horses, they have to be familiar with you. So how did they warm you up or warm the horse up to
Well,
all
the
the
whole
actors?
thing on riding a horse is your senses. The horse has a sense, and if you get on the horse can tell whether you're nervous or not.
Okay.
Which I know sounds ridiculous, but it's a fact. So you get on the horse, and the horse realizes, hey, this person's pretty cool. They're mellow with me, and they'll just do what you tell them to.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And there's other things when you know your horse, if it's going to spook at something or get scared, it's because you know them. But these horses were probably rented from the Lone Star stable or something, and they were just kind of mellow horses.
Right.
Yeah, a riding stable.
Yeah.
But I think Johnny rode the same horse all the time, so
Okay.
he knew him.
You're
But
right.
that was the most fun I'd had that I can remember. Except when I did the theater, 6 characters in search of an author, and I was dressed in all black. That I liked that stage because it was spooky.
Right.
Because it was about we were supposed to be dead people.
Right.
That I enjoyed. I enjoyed most of it, mostly all my time, but it wasn't what I wanted to do forever.
The acting, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I wished I had continued, but
So there was another rumor out there that had said that you had left acting because you were injured. So you're saying you were never injured ever?
I wasn't injured.
Okay. Okay.
No. Yeah. You can take that for granted because I was never injured.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
you would did you say that you did a book? Oh no, you picture book you live.
No, I'd like to do a book.
I think you should. That would be really cool. You know that um, everyone we've talked to, I know Pamela Baird, who played Mary Ellen Rogers. She says she wants to do one. I really hope she does because she had a very cool life, and her acting career was amazing, and it would be so cool. And same thing for you as well. That'd be so cool to read all about all your acting life, and then of course what you did after.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the speaking about what you did after, there was an episode of Leave It to Beaver where you guys are Miss Landers is asking everyone what they want to be when they grow up.
And I said I wanted to be a nurse and marry a rich doctor.
Yes, yes. And what happened in real life?
No rich doctor.
Oh well, but you became a nurse.
Yes, I did, and it was something I enjoyed doing. And when I first got into it, I used to ride with the ambulance.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that you got to have a stomach for that. Today I couldn't do it.
No.
Nah, I mean that I was gung ho back when I was younger, but to go scrape bodies off the concrete nowadays, no thanks.
No, I would imagine not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
My kids like to remind me of how they'd sit down at the dinner table and I'd have to say what went on during the day as a nurse.
right.
My son,
Yeah.
my son still says, I remember when we'd eat dinner and you'd bring up all this gory stuff.
Right.
Well, it made you stronger.
It did, and your stomach was tough because of it.
Yeah.
Back then. So now when you were in your acting career, were there times that you were recognized by the public?
Yeah.
And
there was.
How was that for you? Did they ask
It
for
was
autographs
fun.
or?
It's fun, yeah. People would ask me for autographs. Kids would.
Right.
And then, of course, at school, everybody knew what I did. Some people so jealous that they were mean to me. Other people liked me because of the fact. It's hard, because I was not a show-off type of a kid. I kept to myself. I had good friends.
Yeah.
But, there were certain kids that just couldn't stand it because I would get the attention.
Right.
Yeah. And you see, I graduated high school at 16.
Okay. Probably because you had the studio schooling.
Right. And when we lived in New York, I went from first grade to third grade.
Okay, that's quite a jump. Well,
it was quite a jump.
And you probably took most of your tests with half your brain.
Probably so.
That's another penny line.
Yeah.
I just did the test with half my brain.
Yeah, exactly. That is a penny line.
Yes, yes.
I kind of wish my parents hadn't progressed me like that, because I always got teased about that. Like the other girls were wearing a bra. I didn't even have to wear a bra, but I wanted to wear one because when you went to PE and had to change your clothes, I wasn't like everybody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So as a kid, that's kind of a hard thing to deal with.
Right. Quite ironic, because you, as the replacement of Judy left the show because of that, her problem being the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I never even thought of that till now. Yeah, that's something else. Yeah.
Right. So, I think one of the first shows I did on Beaver was when we did our class picture.
Yes.
Have you seen that one?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Where the one girl has a bow in her hair.
Yes. Yes. Well, the premise of the show is that they, at the year prior to that, there was, they were talking about the picture, and they said, they were setting something up for later, but they had said, like last year when Myrtle Jarvis had a bow in her hair and it was covering Beaver's face. And so then Gilbert, during this picture, talks Beaver into making a face, and he ruins the picture. And so the editor of the publisher of the yearbook makes it so it's similar to last year's picture, where he puts a bigger bow on the girl in front of him. Yeah, and your line in that episode was, "The boys won't stand next to us, Miss Landers."
Yeah, that sounds like something I would say.
Yeah. So now in the 80s, the new Leave It to Beaver. Now Beaver was divorced. He had 2 sons, just like.
I've never seen that.
It is out there. It actually, you can go onto YouTube, and Scott Hattrick has.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, he has them all out on his YouTube channel, and they're all original broadcasts. So they're all original. They're all the commercials are edited out, and they're really,
Oh.
He put these out there about 10 years ago. So at that time, they were about 30 some years old. So, and now 40 some years old. But but some look better than others, but they're all viewable. They're all watchable.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll get a bend in the corner or something, but other than that, I mean, those are really good kept episodes, and you can watch them on there. And the daughter, the girl that played Wally Cleaver's daughter, also was a big horse enthusiast, and she was always, her character also loved horses. And so there was an episode where she wanted a horse, and she was really hinting, I can really, get this horse, and I really want it, and I can really prove to you that I can take care of it. And she was able to do this, and she was grooming a horse at the stables. And by the way, the new Leave It to Beaver was also the last season was filmed in Florida in Orlando.
Okay.
It was actually the first production to be done in Orlando Universal, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who worked on that last season, and a few years ago we went. My sister and I went, and we went. We my buddy that worked on that show. We met up with him, and he showed us a few filming locations. One was the Orlando Mall, which back then was the Florida Mall. There was an episode, the episode where she's, proving that she can take care of a horse. There was a stable there, and we went and visited that stable. It's all grown over now, a lot of grass and stuff. It's not an operated stable anymore. That you still have the corrals and the
Oh
stables
yeah.
and everything, and that was really cool. That was really cool. And she bought the horse from that episode.
Oh, she did.
Yeah,
Good for her.
she personally bought that horse, and she had it for quite a few years. She said, and yeah, that's really cool. So I always thought it was cool. You had that horse ability in your real life, and they brought it into the show. The same thing with her. That she loved horses, and she was an accomplished rider too, and they wrote it into that show as well.
Yeah, I was in the Junior Olympic Equestrians.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I had numerous horses, but my father was very talented at construction and building and whatever. He was excellent at that. And he built 2 stables behind the garage.
Cool.
So I kept my horses there. I had 2 there. And then I bought a ex-race horse, but I kept him at the barn. So I had numerous horses.
Right.
Numerous horses to ride. And 2 in the backyard. So it was like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one am I going to take out today?
Yeah.
Because I rode almost every day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and if you have that love for the
school, first thing I did was saddle up.
And eeny, meeny, miny, the 3 horses.
Yep.
Yeah. So you not knowing about that show, obviously you weren't approached to do that show. I mean,
Right.
you weren't in show business at that time anyway.
I was still reachable.
Were you? Did you have an agent at that time?
Not really, but my mom and dad kept in touch with them because they were nice people.
Okay.
Him and his wife. All I can remember is his name was Al, but I'll have to look in my book.
Right.
Go down in the basement and collect all my archives.
I always thought, because they had him as a divorced father, which I guess for Beaver that's appropriate, especially in that era. The 80s was filled with divorce.
Yeah.
But I always thought that he should have married Penny.
Oh yeah.
Because Penny and Beaver had such a great chemistry, and there was always, like even in an episode where your mother had said, there was a boy that I talked about once, and I thought he was annoying, and you said, "Oh, Mom, that's silly," and then she says, "Well, that boy is your father," and it would have been cool, because the writer of this new show, he was a big Beaver fanatic. I mean, I don't know. He and I could go back and forth on knowledge, but I think it would have been cool to have Beaver and Penny married, and flashbacks of lines like that.
Yes, that would have been good. Yeah.
It would have been really cool, and and most of the original cast appeared in that show, even if it was 1 or 2 episodes. I know that Rich Carell, who he was very much in contact with the creator of that show, or the developer of that show, they had both worked on the Happy Days series together.
Oh.
And so they were already good friends at that point. And he wanted Rich to be in it all the time or regularly. And Rich at that time was he was starting his directing and producing career, and he's actually was the co-creator of Hannah Montana.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, back in the early 2000s. He was the co-creator of that. But he worked on a lot of Miller Boyett TV. So he directed a lot of step-by-step episodes, which centered in Port Washington, Wisconsin. I believe it was Miller, who was from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, which is a upscale town in the North Shore of the Milwaukee area. Who, Happy Days just celebrated their 50th anniversary of the first year that they aired. And I was working at a bank, and it was inside of a grocery store, and right out there was a stand, and it was just filled with Milwaukee Magazine with the Happy Days tribute of the 50th anniversary.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was cool. I read it and found out that the Arnold's Hangout was modeled after a place called Milky Way, which was kind of a diner thing over that way. It did change hands. It did change names to Kopp's Custard. Now here in Milwaukee, there's two Kopp's Custards. One,
Oh.
one is on 76 in Layton in the city of Greenfield, which is a suburb of Milwaukee, the southwest side. And then there's Glendale, which is right next door to Whitefish Bay. And I had read in that magazine that he went to that Milky Way, which is now a Kopp's. And I just interviewed Bryon Levant, that's the gentleman that started the new Leave It to Beaver, a few months ago, regarding his book that he had written about his work on Happy Days, which was really cool. Him and Fred Fox Jr.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very cool book, very big book, very huge book, but it's packed with a lot of information. But I sent him a picture of the Kopp's Custard, of which Arnold's was modeled after, which used to be the Milky Way, over that way. And then, yeah, that one's a dine-in one. The one that I grew up near, I grew up in the city of Greenfield. That Kopp's, there's no dining in. You can go inside and order, and then there's outside seating, which in the winter time, and winter here is not very pleasant sometimes, especially this year. It was rather cold this year, this past winter, but very good custard to say the least, though. That Wisconsin.
Was any of them where the girls would come up on roller skates?
That wasn't Arnold's. Arnold's was a diner. You sat inside, but like A&W's, we do have. I don't know where they originated, but there's some Sonics.
Yeah, we have a Sonic here.
Yeah, and they come out on skates. That was a big thing in the 60s.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. What do they call those? Hops?
Yeah, hops.
Yeah. Yeah, that was... So, yeah, it would have been so cool to see Beaver and Penny married. I think that would have been so neat.
I don't know why they didn't think ahead on that one.
Well, I think, Bryon wanted to highlight, they wanted, Beaver, I don't know. He was at, when, in the original show, girls were creepy, he was at that age where girls were creepy. And then later on.
With Beaver and Penny, they had a love-hate relationship.
Yes. Yes, as a matter of fact, I think that's why I see the chemistry in them, because Judy and Beaver, they weren't ever really friendly with each other, but Penny and
No.
Beaver were.
Yeah.
Even in the episode where, he would, even, there'd be some nice moments, then it'd be like, no, you're a creepy girl, you're a creepy boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wish that would have happened, but it was still a good show.
Now that I think about it, one of the episodes that I was on was kind of not good. He was playing football.
Yes.
I was outside watching or whatever. Anyhow, I had an ice cream cone, which really was not ice cream. It was mashed potatoes.
You're the second one that has revealed that secret. Yes.
And bees started coming around.
You would think bees would come around more. I mean, well, potatoes have starch and sugars too, I guess, but.
Well, it was under this little tree or some kind of a bush or something that I was standing next to. And it was like, I'm not standing here anymore. As a kid, kids are going to do what they want to do.
Yes.
I was never a bad kid or, misbehaved.
Right.
But, when it comes to certain things, kids just say, I ain't doing that.
Right. Right.
And there was one time that I was riding a bicycle down in, all those houses weren't houses. They were just fronts.
Right.
Correct. And with lawns. And I was riding my bicycle away and tripped over a hose, and I did fall off the bike and skin my knees.
Ouch.
I don't remember what episode that one was.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, you were riding I think you were riding a bike, if memory serves correctly. That was the buggy one.
Oh, was that the buggy one?
I think so, because you were riding your bike. Yeah, you were riding your bike, I think with some friends, and Beaver and Richard or somebody, Beaver and somebody were walking up the sidewalk.
Gilbert, I think.
Yeah, and you said, I knew you give my buggy wheels to Gilbert or Richard or whoever it was. And yeah, I believe you're on a bike on that one.
That's probably the one then.
So you tipped over and skinned your knee on that one.
I did. But I wasn't on camera. It was after, I rode off, like right off to the sunset and then kaboom.
Yeah. Yeah, right up in the sunset of a bike, not a horse.
What now?
Riding off in the sunset on a bike.
On a bike.
Not a horse.
Right.
The horse rider.
Yeah.
Yeah. So out of all of the shows that you have worked on, which one stands out the most and why?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's a couple on Beaver that I really enjoyed, but I think the most that I enjoyed out of everything was The Rifleman.
Okay.
And that was because it was fun to do. Johnny and I had a great relationship. We stayed friends for a long time. Yeah, ride horses all the time. And Beaver, we just, even when we had our school already done and, our 3 hours were up, we'd sit and chat. Whatever kids talk about. But I'll leave it to Beaver. I think my most favorite was the one on the horse. Mm-hmm. And the other one was the buggy. There's just so many memories that I can't really choose, except, I had a great time. And as a kid, going back to regular school, and everybody comes running up to you, what'd you do? How'd you see? And be able to, converse with everybody about, I saw Alfred Hitchcock. I saw Herman Munster. I mean, that kind of stuff is neat.
Oh, yeah.
my dad loved to go over to the Western sets.
Oh, yes.
Where the cowboys were. And where I lived in Burbank, we were on a quiet street, and right across from the street, there were no houses. It was Walt Disney Studios.
You must have lived not too far from...
And that's where they filmed Zorro.
Yes. I believe Rich Carell lived near the Disney Studios as well.
Yeah.
I believe he did, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So you were in the neighborhood of Rich, I believe. It was either Richard or Steve Talbot, one of the two, but I believe it was yeah, he was, yeah, because Steve, not Steve, I'm sorry, Rich. He went to a lot of, because his dad too was a big Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
His dad was Charles Carell, and they did a lot of Hollywood parties, and Rich said he got to meet Walt Disney, which was really cool.
I met him.
Did you really?
Yeah, I interviewed for him.
Okay.
Can't remember what was for. So far back. Yeah, he was a nice man. Anyhow, I had to sing a song. No, it wasn't for Mickey Mouse Club. Everybody used to think I was Karen on the Mickey Mouse Club, but that wasn't me. But I did an interview with Walt Disney, and I think there's a couple other people in there too. And when you do the interview, you just go back by yourself and know what you're going to face the firing squad.
Yeah.
And sang a song. And I can't for the life of me remember what it was for. I didn't get that part.
Do you remember the song?
No. I can look it up. Like I said, I'll go into my archives. But I did meet him, and he sounded just like he does on TV, and he was a nice man. Yeah.
So especially when you're young, and this has to be terrifying, a lot of these people, Tony was such a meek person that, and he did a lot of things after Beaver, and Beaver was his first, big thing. And I think Harry Ackerman got him the role, or introduced him to the producers for Wall-E, because during the pilot, there was, as you might know, there was a different Wall-E. There was a different Wall-E and there was a different Ward, and both of those actors were replaced. The name of the pilot was a different name. It was called "It's a Small World," which is included in the Leave It to Beaver box set that came out. Oh gosh, I think it came out in 2010, I believe.
Oh.
But yeah, It's a Small World. That's the name of it. And Paul Sullivan was the original Wall-E, and Max Showalter was the original Ward. And they replaced Paul Sullivan because he grew to be way taller than they would want a big brother to be.
Right?
What's that? Are we losing you?
What now?
Okay.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I thought you asked something. No?
No.
Okay. But yeah.
No, what was the producers? Was that Connolly?
Conley and Mosier. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Conley and Mosier. Yep.
Yes.
I couldn't remember Mosier, but I did remember Conley.
Right. So when you do these auditions, and like you said, you're going in front of the firing squad, what's it like these people staring at you? And in a lot of ways, I mean, how do these auditions work? Do they give you lines to read, or do they ask you to do a bit?
Sometimes they do. No, I never had to do a bit, except like that time when I interviewed for Walt Disney. But they were very friendly. You go into the room and you just had to not show that you're nervous.
Okay.
You know, and you kind of you get used to that. Yeah, yeah, act like you know what you're doing. Go in there and just, hopefully you're the type that they're looking for. Sometimes they want you to repeat a line. One of the fellows will say something, and you have the script, and you have to read your part, see how you act. One interview I went on one time, it was just for a bit part, and they wanted me to cry like I had fallen down and hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was hard to do. That's very hard to do.
Were you given any tips on how to cry on cue?
No, you didn't really have anybody guiding me. I never went to, school to learn how to do whatever. I just did what I did.
Right.
And being an only child, my parents worked with me a lot. Because you have to remember your lines.
Correct.
So, we'd go over them and over them. And after I did time in school and did homework, that's what we would do.
So you did.
It wasn't.
Right. Right. So you did homework. You did. So how did that work? You went to the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Now you weren't a regular. Were you a regular on any of the productions that you were on, or were you recurring? You were a recurring role on.
Regular on Beaver, yeah, because they'd have me come in, and maybe a month or so would go by, and then they call me back again.
Okay.
It all depends on what the storyline was.
Right. So when you had a day where you were working, or a week, or well, it's a week to take.
It was a whole week when you worked.
Right. So there was a week that you would work. So what was a typical day? Do you remember like what time you had to be at the studio?
You had to be at the studio early, like 8:00.
Okay.
You get there early because before everything's all set up, you've got makeup and hair and what clothes you're supposed to wear and get started on your schoolwork so you can get your hours in.
Right.
And then they'd say, okay, we're going to do this certain scene, because it was done in sections.
Right.
So it depended, so you could sit in your classroom and it wasn't your section. It was something with Tony or, mom and dad or whatever.
Right.
But they tried when I was called in or Jerry or whatever, they tried to put us all in at the same time. So you get that time for your school.
Right.
So they would say, okay, from 1 to 3, we're going to do this part or these scenes.
Right.
Yeah. It was very structured.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right. So you would be at the studio until 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And now must leave time. Well, and you probably weren't there till the very late because most of your scenes would probably be done by whatever o'clock.
Correct. Yeah.
So, do you know roughly what time you would have left? Would it have been like well before the main cast?
Sometimes it all depended on what the show was about. Like the Baby Buggy show it was constantly about the baby buggy.
Right.
It wasn't about June and Ward having a conversation. That was maybe a little bit of it, but the most of the part was, getting the baby buggy and the wheels and this and that and so on and so forth.
Right.
But then when there are other shows, like the one where a beaver was dressed as a rabbit and I was a butterfly, those scenes weren't very long, and so, I wasn't there for very long.
Right.
I was only in like a certain section. And then,
Right.
Once your school hours are done, you can go home.
And I would imagine a longer day would be like um, the Farewell to Penny episode where you're supposed to be moving because
Right.
that's a good chunk of.
And I think he gave me a pencil box or something.
You gave him a pencil box.
I gave him the pencil box.
Yes, because you were leaving and it said Grant Avenue School on it.
Right.
And
then
what do you need? You would look silly with a Grant Avenue pencil box in a, you go into Bellport.
Right, right.
But yeah, so cool. Very cool.
Yep.
I think.
Well, you have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Yep. Take care.
You too.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was absolutely fantastic. And as she had said, she is still very much alive. She is married now. She is not married to any of the Ford Motor Company family members, but Richard Ford is a very fine gentleman, and he did contribute a little bit in the background. I did notice that right after I said Fred Gwynn, he said Fred Gwynn in the background, and I thought maybe I was getting my voice kicked back to me. But I do thank Karen Sue Trent, now known as Karen Ford, for the time that she gave us. It was very, very insightful, very cool, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you haven't heard any of the other interviews that I've done, feel free to check those out. So long, everybody. Thank you for listening, and we will see you soon. Bye.